Hey, it's Ducky, and we are here with another episode of the Aloha Thumbprint podcast. I'm super excited today because we get to talk story with maybe what I'd call a semi-celebrity, Ryan Park. I know, I just embarrassed you, right?
I didn't come out with that one.
He's the debonair, the dashing Ryan Park, married to my gorgeous friend, Nicola. And hey, just really excited to be able to sit here and chat with you a little bit.
It's absolutely great to be here with you.
So people are probably wondering, like, why the semi-celebrity thing? And I'm sorry, I just gotta go there. You know where I'm going?
No, please tell.
It has something to do with The Bachelor.
A past life. I vaguely remember that.
No, just joking. Every time I talk to you, just the wealth of knowledge that you have and, the 10-mile resume that you have and really just all of the amazing things that you've been doing in the renewable energy space has always impressed me. And so that's why I lead with that. And, people are probably wondering, who is this Ryan Park? I know all about you, but our audience is definitely wondering. Share a little bit.
Well, it is an absolute pleasure to be here, chatting with you. So I guess just starting way back from the beginning, I was not born and raised here in Honolulu. I was actually raised in the Central Valley of California, Fresno.
Fresno, baby.
The armpit of the Central Valley.
Armpit, oh my gosh.
That is
okay.
true. However, Fresno was a family place.
Okay.
I was the oldest of three. We were less than an hour from Yosemite. I had an aunt and uncle that lived in Mammoth, and so the mountains and nature was in my bones from early on. Just a contrast from for where we ended up here, and I just found my way here.
Okay, well, I know that there's a little bit more to that story there. But yeah, I get it. Being somebody who's very in tune with nature as well, really did kind of lead me toward, what I'm doing with my life right now.
Exactly.
And renewables really has been everything in your career, pretty much.
Yeah, that's actually all I've known. So
walk us through that.
Yeah, so I went to college at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, studied business there, from the Central Valley to the coast. And I knew, so coming from Fresno, track houses everywhere, 100-degree plus weather in the summertime, right? And just from my love of nature, love of business, I knew from a very young age I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
When I was at Cal Poly, I felt that. But I didn't just want to go and start just any other business. I wanted something that was passion, purpose. And so it was always like, what is something that's going to be growing? What is something that's going to actually be meaningful and try to make my little mark that's something positive in the world. And it was in my third year at Cal Poly that I just realized that's it. It's solar. I mean, it's just I could see that this is going to happen. And really, it was those roots in Fresno, thinking about those hot summer months and all those houses lined up. Why did those roofs not have solar on it? Mm-hmm. And so it was just serendipity. When you're thinking about something, people come into your life. It just happens. Yeah. And it was the founder of Kinko's that sold to FedEx had donated to the Cal Poly College of Business to be named after him. It's now called the Orfalea College of Business. His name is Paul Orfalea. And I was involved with student government and all that sort of stuff. I won't ramble too much, I promise, audience. But it just comes full circle to how people come into your life and what brings to today. And that I sat next to him at the dinner after he donated to the college to be named after him. And he did not ask me. He turns to me and goes, "So Ryan, what business are you going to start?"
Okay.
He didn't ask where I'm going to go work when I graduate. He asked what business I was going to start, probably thinking that was going to catch me off guard. And I said, I'm going to start a solar company, not a solar company that heats swimming pools, because this was the year 2000.
Right. Wow. Okay.
This was
23 years ago.
23 years ago. And he was taken aback. He goes, "Wow, you're serious?" And he goes, "Well, matter of fact, I have some people that I think you'd like to meet. What are you doing on Tuesday?" And I went down to Santa Barbara. I said, "Nothing." Of course, I skipped class. Paul Orfalea says, "What are you doing on Tuesday?" I'm going to go meet him. And we went into a lunch, and it turned out to be two people that were actually advising two other people that had graduated from Cal Poly just prior to me and had started a solar company.
Oh my
there
gosh.
in San Luis Obispo. I didn't know it at that time. I did about 3 months of just pro bono work. These board members were asking me to do SWOT analysis and that. What would you do if you were to start a solar company? And one day I'm sitting in their house and they go, Ryan, do you want to get your feet wet? I was like, of course. Well, of course. And they go, well, we advise Fred and Judy, a little place in Los Osos, and if they like you, why don't you go run the sales?
Okay. And how old were you?
21 years old.
Oh my gosh. All right. Keep going.
So, needless to say, I met Fred Sis and Judy Ledford in a little, maybe 500 square foot office in Los Osos. And a gentleman by the name of Ethan Miller was sitting in there too. And that was a company by the name of Renewable Energy Concepts. And really the rest, not the rest is history, but that was the beginning of Into Solar. We were a tiny, tiny little shop doing residential, and that is all we've done. It was a magical ride, as we'll say.
Wow, I have actually no reference for the solar industry back in 2000. What was that
Very
like?
different. Very different, right? I mean, when I told people, hey, I'm in solar, they thought I heated swimming pools.
Right.
Like I said. And so it was, I had to build everything. I mean, this just was, as we brought people on, I mean, nowadays there's apps and software and all these things, which we'll get to how it came here today, hopefully. But it was literally looking at compasses and writing the book to do it. But, when you have your why figured out, the passion, the purpose, the people that came into the company, it was a magic time of friendship, and we made our mark. We became the largest solar company in California. Ultimately sold to Sunrun. A lot of my dear friends went to Sunrun when Sunrun was really on the up and up, and now those same friends have come full circle, and we're back together doing something again. So
that's really cool, because I actually had the chance to meet Ethan. That's I love those stories. Sometimes you're just destined to be woven together, and it doesn't matter how much time passes.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So I do want to get to how you landed on this rock.
And that is where, we'll skip through all the bachelor ages, I guess, or that, or it came back to that.
Well, I'm warming you up so we get the story.
But it kind of weaves all into it, in that, a lot had happened through the career time, and did that show thing. I had no idea what I was getting into. Complete fool. I mean, I was living in Newport Beach at the time. Actually, technically, it was Corona Del Mar, and do that show thing, and had no idea what was going to come my way with that sort of attention. And it was really shocking and not who I was, and it felt inauthentic and all this stuff. And I was like, But the reason I ended up here was because of my wife, Nicola.
Love.
Yeah, it was love. And it was the best decision I ever made, in that we had actually been only dating for 6 months. She also comes from the solar industry.
Right.
A different world. She's in the utility scale. So it's getting big areas of land and selling the power actually directly to the utility. But we'd only been dating about 6 months, and her company at the time was going to send her here to Honolulu for a 6-month temporary move. Mm-hmm. And she turns to me, she goes, this is going great. I'm really, this is great, but I'm not going to do long distance. Uh-huh. And it did not take me but 1 second to say, well, then I'm coming with you. And I put everything in storage, and I followed her here. That was 11 years ago.
11 years ago. Yeah. My goodness.
12 years ago. Almost 12 years ago. My goodness.
About 11, 12 years ago, when Rhino and I started our dating journey as well, I was like, yo, listen, I'm starting a wedding business on another island. So you're going to have to deal with that if we're going to. But, long distance between the Big Island and Oahu, completely different than California and Hawaii. Yeah. And besides, you regret the decision?
God, no. Best decision of my life.
Oh, my goodness. I know. And now you have 2 beautiful little ones.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Boy, doesn't that change your world, right? So we just celebrated our 9-year wedding anniversary, and we have, 2 beautiful daughters. Kaya, who is 6.5, turned 7 in February, and Ayla, that is just turned 4. So they are so lucky they don't realize it. I mean, I'd like to say I think they do, but I mean, growing up here is, they're so fortunate, and we're so fortunate to be able to raise children in this amazing, my favorite place on earth. So,
and you know, it's like you said, you grew up in Fresno, and you went out to Mammoth a lot, and it's gorgeous there. I've been there. Yeah. You know, the mountains and the snowboarding and just the forest. It's so beautiful. And Hawaii's beautiful, but there's something different about growing up here. And what is it that you see that's different that your kids are being able to experience versus maybe what you and Nicola grew up with?
It's very simple. It's the title of this entire podcast here. It's Aloha.
It is real.
Right? It is real. It gives me chicken skin thinking about it. And that it's real. The aunties and uncles that have been part of our daughters' lives, see our parents don't live here. You know, they still live in California, but our children have family here.
Yeah.
They're aunties and uncles that have been there since they were, first held, and that is something truly special about here.
You know, there's that concept of hanai, right? There are two ways that you can become part of a family. One is you're born into it, and the other is you're adopted into it. And for me, when I think about that term hanai, it's from that heavenly perspective that we're all children of God, of the Creator. And a lot of times those ties that are woven in Aloha are actually stronger than the familial bond, I love it. I'm so happy for you. I mean, I remember Nicola had said that when you guys came here, what you experienced just with the people was just completely different. And that struck me. From
the beginning. And actually, as I was driving here to sit down, I was thinking about just reflecting on the last 11 years. So one of the first things I did moving here was I got my local resident golf cart.
Oh my gosh.
Had a lot more time back then to golf.
Okay, yes.
So, because I could go play, wildlife for like $12 type of thing, right? So I get my local card, and so it takes me 2 weeks or something like that. I moved here for like 2 weeks. I got my locals card. I think once I got my first credit card bill or something, I could go take it in there. And I'm standing on the first tee. I go up alone, and I'm standing on the first tee, and these three local brothers are there. And immediately they start just jawing at me like I knew them for 20 years.
Right.
By the end of that 18 holes, these guys, I kid you not, invited me and my, and Nicola, that they didn't even know, to come on their Memorial Day annual trip to Haleiwa.
Oh my gosh.
With their family.
Wow. Their
families that come together and stay at this condo every year, and they said, "Come up, please." And I was like, "No, what are you talking about?
This isn't real.
Not real. I just met you guys. We did 18 holes of golf. That is it." And they were serious, and they'd followed up. We did go. We did. We went that Memorial Day weekend, and the way they accepted these two white-colored skin as family was something I'll never forget. Playing ukulele on the beach with the campfire with these locals that just extended their aloha to us. That's what's different.
Wow. You had mentioned something, you said these two white-skinned people, right? But that's the thing about aloha is it doesn't matter where you come from, what color your skin is. It's about in here.
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right.
It's the way you view people and see people, and people can feel it.
Absolutely.
Right? If they, really, if they met you and they couldn't stand you after 18 holes and you were just kind of like pilau to them, like, oh, stink this one, then you wouldn't have gotten that invitation. And that's something that I've felt from you and Nicola from day one, is just like, yeah, you guys just, you were born on a different rock, but it was just, this place was calling you,
It was, ironically, we both were living very parallel paths, Nicola and I, in our journey to here. Mm-hmm. our favorite place to vacation. Came here only a couple times in my life growing up, but it was, mountains, the Huntington Lake, which was an hour and a half out of Fresno. We'd go there in the summers, and here, visiting the various islands, and Nicola too. It felt like it was always calling us here, and here we are.
So tell me about the last 11 years then that you've been here. What's transpired in that time? How has your solar journey evolved? Did you stay in the business for the entire time? Or I know that I heard rumors you were into a lot of the solar agricultural development and stuff like that. So just...
Yeah, so with REC Solar, I was there until 2016. So we for 4 years of living here, I was still with the company, although at that time I was just focused on large-scale commercial and industrial all over the mainland, a lot with agriculture. Just that time, and because I'm growing up in the Central Valley in California, you have mega farms that grow, pack, and ship, so big cold storage facilities, and so really big energy loads, and obviously lots of sunshine. And so worked a lot with those clients, continued to for those years, but the company was a shell of what it was. The residential had been sold to Sunrun in 2012, 2013 timeframe, and I stayed behind with the commercial team, and ultimately we sold the commercial business to Duke, a big utility.
Right.
So, like all sales and companies, when you go through transitions, they're injecting their utility company mindset people in that just totally lose sight of the customer.
Right.
And while I was selling a lot of solar and earning a lot of money and had all the freedom in the world, I wasn't happy. I wasn't content at all, because it's the passion that really drives. It's the working people that you really care about, and so that was all out of it. I was enjoying here. Okay, so that was those years. Nicola was doing utility scale development, and at this stage, over her 11 years, we have there's over 200 megawatts generating on Oahu.
Unreal.
Approximately 10% of our entire island are credited to those projects that she began, working with the Kamehameha schools, landowners to lease that land for 20, 30 years, selling power to HECO at less than half of what it already cost to generate from oil, and not being dependent on oil in here, right?
Yep.
I mean, so Oahu's first solar and storage plant came online 1 month before our final coal plant shut down, the AES, and it actually literally helped prevent brownouts, blackouts here. As far as on my side, so I would say I was lost for a lot of those years being here, finding that new purpose. Yeah. When I left REC, I was looking, going through various startups and looking for that spark, right? And in all renewable energy. Different types of things. And it wasn't until, so I continued to advise commercial clients, helping them to go solar and doing all that, all mainland based. Okay. And it was a little over a year ago now when it just hit me. I'm like, why am I not, we're staying here. This is our home. Our children are in school. Our house here. We are not leaving here. Why am I not applying my skills, experience here and doing, and my entire mission has been to accelerate clean energy adoption. I mean, I believe our homes, cars, and businesses should all be run by the sun. Our food should be grown by the sun.
Right.
Okay? Water pumping and running, grow lights, things like that. So why not here? Of all places, it makes the most sense. So I go to the biggest renewable energy conference of the year, a little over a year ago, and then I'm there, and one of my dear friends, Ethan Miller, who had been at a company called Power after Sunrun, the best of the best that came out of Sunrun, go to Power, this renewable energy platform, pulls me aside and says, hands me a business card. And he goes, "Do you know this guy?" And I look at it, and Rhino.
I know that guy.
Rhino Irvin? No, don't know him. And he goes, "Well, he just met with Jonathan Budd, our CEO, and we're entertaining the idea of coming to Hawaii." So I should probably just step back one more year prior to that. When Ethan called me, he says, "Hey, Ryan, he became their COO, so he's the chief operating officer of all of Power. And he joined them in 2021, so 2 years ago. A few weeks after joining it, he called me and he goes, "Hey, Ryan, you may want to consider coming back to joining this Power." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, why?" And he goes, "It is something really unique, man. They got something. with this platform, and I think you want to be a part of this. I said, yeah, well, is it in Hawaii? And he's like, no. And I'm like, I don't want to travel. Like, I have kids now. I want to, let me know when you're coming to Hawaii, I said. He goes, okay. Next year.
Right.
All right. Hands me Rhino's card. Why don't you go meet this guy, go see his operations, and let me know what you think. Like, kind of like send me as a spy. Let me know if you think they can handle what's going to happen. And I think Rhino and I blocked maybe 30 minutes to an hour for our meeting. And I come out, to the west side out here and sit down in the conference room. And that 30-minute conversation turned to nearly 4 hours.
Of course.
I walked out of there going, I felt like I had stepped back in time to REC, like 2010, 2012. And I mean that in the highest confidence, because that's when REC was like golden years. Mm-hmm. He had the residential side at Hawaii Unified, the commercial side, but most of all, I felt his aloha.
Yeah.
Because in having gone down the path of several startups with different people, you can fail in a business because, timing, people, product, whatever. But, ultimately what I really, so much of it comes down to no business will work if the people aren't of integrity, and it can be hell, frankly, if they don't have aloha.
Oh my goodness.
That's like the key driving factor, like what I look for. And I stepped out of that thing and I called Ethan immediately and I said, this is your guy. Like, I can feel it. And here we are.
Well, a little insider, Rhino was sweating bullets. Like, I have to meet Ryan, and your resume precedes you, and all of your wealth of knowledge, in solar. But he shared that same sentiment. He came out of it, and he's like, "This is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
This is incredible," and it has been. And I remember being able to meet you and Nicola and the girls that first time you came out to the house here, eating tilapia, deep fried tilapia from the aquaponic system.
Amazing.
And it just felt like it was that connection, that immediate connection.
Like we'd known each other for, like our souls had been
Yes.
connected for a very long time.
Yes.
And Nicola too, and she's like, they're amazing. She's like, I love Ducky. This is great. Yes, you should do this. Because he has a wife, my partner. I mean, she's like you, mission-driven couple. Mm-hmm. That's my wife and I too, at every level. And so she's very much a part of the decisions that are made and things we do. And obviously you want that support. And if not, that's the ultimate force to push back, right? Mm-hmm. No, she embraced, like, yes, you should be working with Rhino. Yes, you should be working with Tucky and like do this. And a beautiful blessing. And yeah.
I can't believe it's been a year already.
Yeah.
It's, and I'm really excited because now we're at the precipice, with this whole power transition coming in. And, I don't think people necessarily understand how different this model is.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's like everything in Hawaii. I mean, look, we thought we would be off and running in March, right? It was
my gosh.
It was January or something. Then when we're like, let's do this. And then I joined Hawaii Unified. And then it was like work to get ready on this. We thought it was going to be March, and then it was April, and then it was May, and then it was June, and it was July, but here we are, right? Yeah. And that's just a story of the solar coaster, as they call it. I mean, the ups, the downs. If you don't have resiliency and have a bigger purpose of your why, like, you're not staying in solar. Mm-hmm. But that's just what's so amazing about now is that they call that blazing the trail. Like so much of what we have learned over these, or at least for me personally, over the last several decades of lessons learned when you realize, well, that's not how to do it, and not this type of thing. I believe it's all coming together. And how is power different? I mean, it is truly the democratization, there we go, of really being able to bring in the best of everything, where, there's certain people that have those strengths around, I'm really good at networking, or love being around people, or I'm in the real estate business, or just something where you're around people that, like, they know lots of people that have homes, and if they use energy on their house, which is everybody, and here in Hawaii, electric bills are crazy, and they're only going to get much, much higher, that's all they have to do. They just can stay in their lane. It's so simple. And the platform solves what I would call the inefficient middle from the business side. So they call it, end-to-end sales to fulfillment of what it does, and then how the platform makes it easy for builders. Because then there's the other side. You have contractors that are really good at, they like wearing their boots. They like just doing the work. Mm-hmm. But here in Hawaii and in so many different jurisdictions across the country, it's difficult to go through the design and the engineering, the permitting, and blah, blah. And now more and more, where access to capital to run a business is getting more and more difficult, to get credit lines and things like that. Solar electric systems is a lot of capital. You know, you're buying an expensive asset. You're buying solar panels that are going to produce energy from the sun for 40 years.
Yeah.
I mean, just 40 years. So when you think about
that's my whole lifetime.
I mean, it's like, that's going to be on the house now going forward. I mean, and so you have to have that cash out front. Power solves all of that. And so builders can focus just on building. Permits show up for them. Here's jobs. They don't have to think about the sales and marketing. That's the other side. You get people that are really good at building, but the sales and marketing side, I mean, that machine is so much different than it was a few years ago now, right? And so power allows people to stay in their lane and specialize around that, to do what they love to do, and everybody wins. Mm-hmm. Everybody wins.
Yep. And I think this is the narrative that we keep putting in front of people, right? Because it's going to take them a little bit of time to really understand what the value is, how it's different, how it can benefit them, to actually understand that we've invited them to the table to be able to take advantage of this. And, you know, like, let's get real, you know, our friends at Sunrun or Vivint or, you know, some of these very large companies that are not Hawaii based, they kind of tarnish the market a little bit. No more aloha, right?
The solar industry deserves every bit of the reputation it currently has. I mean, it went from, you know, early days, your salespeople were actually employees. You hold them to a higher level of standard. They have to be accountable. They're employees in a way. To the mindset of just bring in anybody, teach them basically nothing, give them a script. They're willing to say anything because they're on commission only. Go walk the neighborhoods, do anything to make the sale, and they're gone.
Yeah.
And who's left holding the bag but poor homeowners, right, with a lot of bad deals. And that stinks, you know? I mean, it's, and so it's hard to right those wrongs. And, but that's just exactly what Power is able to do here, where they're stepping up the education game. They're stepping up the warranty and the service game. And not all of it is in the fault of Sunrun or whatever, where they fell on their faces for the old ways of service and warranty. The industry was evolving, right? It was like, great, yeah, you have warranties on the solar panels and the inverters for 10 or 25 years. Yay, people feel great, they're signing their contracts. But then when something broke, a lot of those systems that were installed, let's take just here in Hawaii, for example, those companies may not be here anymore.
Right.
So they go to make a call, no one's there. The homeowner doesn't know how to take care of this piece of equipment. They can see it's not working. They don't know who to call. So then they open up and just find another solar company. They call them. They go, we didn't install your system. We're not going to come fix it. Or if we do, you're going to pay us a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And they're like, dang. Power takes all that away, right? Because they not only do they cover all the warranties for 30 years of it, but it's the equipment, the labor. I mean, the even lost production. They're monitoring systems for homeowners. The other side of it is in the older system structure, and if your system went down, you wouldn't know it until you got your electric bill. And
your
it's like
$700 electric bill.
Right.
This
right.
house,
like, what the heck? They go out and look at it and they go, I can't tell if it's working. Don't know who to call.
There's no blinking light that says,
I mean, so this is all now with Power proactively looking over systems. Like if it goes down, homeowner doesn't even need to know. This is just technology advancement, right? Like Power will be able to do it. They will do an automatic claims ticket. Literally, the person's going to show up to swap out the inverter before they even know the thing is down. And there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, that's customer service, and that's something that I definitely want to be a part of. Look, I've been in this 20 plus years. Why? Because I love the people I work with. I love my customers, and I want to take care of them. Yeah. And seeing what Power has put together, the culmination of that, you know, the technology, the lessons we've learned from the past, the way to set up warranties right, I believe we're in the best is ahead.
Yeah. You know, when we talk about Kuleana, what our responsibility is, right? Being in the industry, especially from its infancy, and even me and Rhino, I want to see this solar industry. I want to see it be righted. I want the reputation to, you know, be elevated. I want people to really understand what's at stake, because if we're not able to make that correction, people are not going to adopt clean energy, and we already see what's going on in this world. Whether you believe in climate change or not, there are tons of weather events that are happening. You know, even our fires that we've had on the islands here, Maui, Lahaina, what's happening in, you know, the wildfires in Canada and all over the place. It's just a tragedy. And so when I think about kind of like our role, we have to educate people, right? And we have to show them all of the good, you know, and what their options are, and really show them that, hey, if you took a look before, it's completely different now. It's 100% better now. You know, and
it's significantly better. I mean, the big piece of the big knock on solar for so long was like, yeah, but when the clouds go over, like, it's not going to produce. Or if the grid goes out, my house goes out too. That was it when you would just put in solar and you could spin your meter backwards, okay? And there still are some markets in the mainland that utilities allow it to spin backwards and this and that. Hawaii hasn't had that for a while. Mm-hmm. But we have a lot to thank to the electric vehicle industry and all the advancements that have happened in batteries. So, I mean, in my 20 plus years in this industry, the first thing was, how do solar panels get more efficient in their space? Well, that's happened. Then it was another component called the inverter. It takes DC power from the batteries, makes it AC, and in my earlier days, it was like 88% efficient, the conversion. Then it was 92, then it was 96. Yay, we're 99% efficient at the conversion now.
Hey.
Okay, solved.
Yeah.
Okay? Then there's the battery side, and you know, Tesla Powerwalls and just really reputable companies now at that we aren't just selling better energy. I mean, just in Hawaii is just such a special place. Like, we have to do this.
Yes.
Like we are so dependent. 70% of our energy here on these islands comes from oil imports still. Okay, what's happening in the Middle East right now? I mean, just put climate change aside. Like, I mean, This is energy security. This is like safety and security for your family, and it's, you know, of course, it's saving money. But the transition to solar on your own house is the only way you're going to take power into your own hands. I mean, there's a pun in there, but like, it's true. And like, we need to do this here to cut down on those oil imports. Where if oil prices went up 30% tomorrow, the next month, HECO would have your electric price be up at like 27% higher. The correlation is almost the exact same. Wow. It's called the energy cost adjustment factor, and it comes out every month, and it's just correlated with the price of oil, what they're going to pay for the imports. So it can happen overnight. So that's exposure on the financial side for homeowners if they're not going solar. And then like what we saw in Lahaina. So, I mean, some of the testimonials or customers we've heard from that did have put in solar with batteries, and you hear these stories where the grid was out. The grid's going to be out for quite a while, and you hear these stories where the homes that did have solar in storage, and they're able to be the beacon in that neighborhood, either holding medication and insulin, or you have people that like absolutely need to do dialysis, right? And you need to run those machines. Or I heard a story about a woman that the breast milk, to keep her breast milk whole for a baby, right? Like, come on. I mean, these are the things that you cannot put a price on, that we're talking about. We are in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. If we had a big tsunami, okay, it's not just about hurricane, tsunami that took out the port, you think that oil is going to come in? It won't. We're toast. Okay, so I mean, so the terrorist attack on the grid. Okay, hate to go down that path, but we are very much exposed to a cyber attack on the grid. There's a book called Lights Out. Ted Koppel wrote it. It's a scary read, right? Out there, but it's
I should read
to be
it.
Aware of.
Yeah,
and so. It's all of those things. And then, you know, the way we look at righting the wrong, just going back to that, is what power is able to do. It's truly about local job creation. It's about keeping the money here as much as possible. Sure, the equipment is bulk purchased by power at a national level, so we get the best pricing on equipment and the best equipment.
Yeah.
Okay? And we have supply. Okay, right? There is supply constraints in different parts of this overall industry, and I won't bore people with this, but as batteries become better, like more and more people will be putting those in. If you couldn't get those, you can't finish your system.
Right.
With power, consistent supply, the best supply. I equate it to Costco, where if you have a family here, you shop at Costco.
Oh, okay? Absolutely. Yeah.
and the Kirkland brand, high quality, you know, at the best price. That's power in a way there. But then on the labor side, and the way that local labor to install what you're doing with the Makaha Learning Center is like amazing, because educating in the trades, actually doing this work is critical, and they go hand in hand. The more solar that then we sell, the more jobs there are for the actual installation side, and those are good paying jobs.
They are.
And then on the sales side, you know, we have industries here. I mean, real estate's fallen off a cliff. Mortgage, falling off a cliff with interest rates and where they are, at least for now. Is it going away forever? Absolutely not. You know, I mean, it's going to come back. But for now, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
Families are going to have to leave the island. But if they've been a realtor, they have clients that have homes. You were a mortgage broker, you have clients that have HELOCs that are open at lower rates. Those are perfect candidates. Like, why haven't you gone solar? If you haven't gone solar, maybe because you don't like the schwarmy ads, the bad ads. I hate a lot of those ads.
They're really terrible.
Free solar. Government's going to give you the money. Like, get out of here.
Set them up for disappointment, right?
Bad. I mean, obviously there's incentives and tax credits, things like that. Okay, but like, come on.
Not the old bait and switch.
Be
real. Yeah.
Be real. Bring Aloha.
We don't do that.
Oh, man.
You know, I can totally feel your passion around this, you know, and that's, you know, for me, my passion around the solar industry is because it's the right thing to do. It's going to get us to that next step. It's going to preserve our islands. And I know that people can feel that just with everything you're saying as well. So, like, what if someone wants to get involved? Like, what would you suggest? They're like, I should look into this solar thing. I mean, besides calling us and power, you know, but, you know, what are some basic steps that they can do to just kind of start to understand, you know, what's going on and what's available to them?
Well, I'll self-plug. I mean, this way, but there's other ways too. I mean, you know, Go Local Power, and it's spelled P-O-W-U-R.
Right.
So you go to golocalpower.com. That's for here locally here in Hawaii. And that's a place to start. I mean, it's just drop a comment, say, hey, heard you on the podcast, want to know some more, right? And tell a little bit about yourself. Go ahead and drop that in there. Hey, I'm a realtor. Send me some information, or you're interested for your own house. Like, what do you want to know? And we will definitely get back to you and provide information there. It's just, I mean, there's a lot of resources out there. I mean, I could list all kinds of
probably
different sites.
One of the most basic things is learning how to read your electric bill.
Right. Oh my gosh. What's a kilowatt hour?
Yeah.
What's a kilowatt? What the heck? What's this thing? Yeah. I mean, it's
which for us, you know, to self-plug the Learning Center, we actually are going to be starting some, you know, jump on a webinar if you want to learn how to read that electric bill. That's going to be something that's up and coming very soon. And then also for anyone who wants to get into the industry next year in 2024, we're planning for at least 2 of our Solar 101 classes. So
there you go. Awesome. So that's something. And then also, I mean, we're always doing Zooms. I mean, basically every single week on Thursday nights, we're doing Zooms to just talk about the opportunity to join Power, and that's, you can go localpowerzoom.com and register and join us, or, you know, look me up or Rhino, and I always find time for those that are interested, because it's the multiplier effect.
Absolutely.
You find someone that sees that there is a better way. There's better energy. The technology's here now, and you can make a difference. That's something that's really cool about Hawaii. Like, I mean, coming from California, you get lost in the 30 million people that are there. You can do everything you can, but it's like you can get to a point where you're like, am I really making a difference? I mean, everything is a difference. But here in Hawaii, my gosh, if you were to join us and you're part of transitioning 100 homes or 1,000 homes in the next 5 years, that's that much closer to 100% renewable energy. That's that much of an impact to every one of those families. And, you know, when I'm driving down the freeway, or I have my daughters in the car, and they're like, look, Daddy, your solar panels, they point out. I mean, they're 4 and 6 years old already talking about that. That's what gives me hope.
Yeah.
When I was 4 and 6 years old, that definitely wasn't the conversation going on. I was trying to still figure out to put a square block into a Fisher Price, you know, thing, you know, and she's like, oh, we got apps for that. And, you know, I got my first pager in high school or something. Like, so, I mean, that's where the hope is, in that it starts with us.
Yeah.
You make a decision. You want to do something a little more meaningful. You want to spread your aloha for people, and what also extends to career, and what are you doing with your time? And by that, you're living by example. Your children see that. your friends and family see that, mindset starts to shift, and then it's that collective multiplier that makes the change we want to see in the world. And so I believe that to my core, and I've seen it. And nothing brings me more joy than the friends and colleagues that I've worked with for years that call me and say, Ryan, I just want to say, man, thank you so much for bringing me into this industry. Wow. Changed my life. And thankfully, I've received those calls a lot, and nothing means more to me than that, to know that you're sharing something that is worthwhile, and we're all on this mission together, right?
Well, I say it a lot, and it's, from Ecclesiastes, something like, there's nothing better than to work hard and delight in your work and do good for the rest of your days. And really, that is what I see in what you are doing and what Nicola's doing on the utility scale side. And it's important that we have people like you that are, like you said, willing to trailblaze, because it's for the good. And before I let you off the hook, don't worry, I'm not going to The Bachelor. Okay. We'll look to the future. What would you envision for Hawaii, for the world, that your daughters are going to come up in?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, they're being filled with love and aloha.
Yeah.
They are. In the outdoors, and animals, and seeing the good. It's not hard to see the bad.
Yep.
Of course, social media and everything today, they want to put that front and center. There's a lot of good out there. So first for my daughters is the love, confidence, to realize they have a voice. Mm-hmm. They are more powerful than they know. Mm-hmm. And with the tools that are rapidly evolving, already available and rapidly evolving, it is the questions you ask, the goals you seek, and how you manifest, and you can make that happen. So when just already the friends that my daughters have, I'm looking at it as an absolute momentum generation. Strange enough, it seems like all of my friends have had girls.
Oh.
It is wild. And my wife
Girls
is a very
rule
strong
the world.
woman. Yeah, women are the heroes of the world. Okay, going through the transition to become the hero's journey, to become a mother, raise children. Because my wife was always incredible. It's just two masters. She's just. But to watch that transition, her hero journey to be a mother. Now we're raising our children and instilling that confidence into them that they're so strong and the difference they're going to make, and that momentum generation, it gives me hope.
Awesome.
And so we may be small out here on our little rock in the Pacific, but we can bring influence, and we can spread that to the world. Absolutely. It doesn't take much. One seed at a time multiplies.
Awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much. Wow. This has been the Aloha Multiplier here with Ryan Park, a man who wears many, many hats and who's truly making a difference here in our islands. Thank you. Aloha.
Thank you.